This started out for me in about August of 2000 in a hotel in Las Vegas. And I was staying in a hotel in Las Vegas because hotels in Las Vegas are really cheap. Well, they were back then. And I had a book to finish. I was working on American Gods, and I had this idea that I should just go and find a hotel and hole up in it and do nothing but write. And I got to this hotel in Las Vegas, which I picked just because it was cheap. And the person on the front desk said, "You're here for 2 weeks." And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Nobody's ever been here for 2 weeks." And I said, "Well, I'm going to be writing a novel." And he said, "Really?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, in that case, you'll want a proper corner room, won't you?" So I had this really nice corner room, because nobody's ever gone to write a novel there before. And the phone rang one day, and it was my friend Tori Amos, and she was calling to tell me that she had her due date for her baby, she'd had her ultrasound, she knew it was a girl, and she said, would I write something for her that was a prayer, and would I write something that was just something that would be small and magical for her daughter to be. So I did, and it was a lovely thing to do in Las Vegas. I suspect most prayers that are uttered in Las Vegas are not about that. And once it was written, I thought, well, I should get it beautifully calligraphed and put up by her bed. So I gave it to a friend of mine named John Singer. And I said, "John, you have the most beautiful handwriting, would you do a calligraphed version of this?" And he did it twice. Just the first time, just to make sure he got it right, and then the second time, the finished version. And so I took his trial version, and I put it up in my office on the filing cabinet. I just taped it to the corner of the filing cabinet. And people would come in to the office, and they'd stand, and they'd read it. And then they'd say, "Could I have a copy of that?" And I'd say, "Yeah, okay." So I made them copies of it. And I would do readings. Some of you may even have been at readings. But I would read Blueberry Girl, and I would always say before I told them the story how it got written, and I would say, just do me a favor, no MP3s, just for this little bit. Don't tape it. This was for Tori and her daughter, and let's just keep it private. And people did, which I think is actually kind of awesome. But after each of these readings, people would sidle over to me and say, "I have a friend who's very pregnant, could she have a copy?" And I would say yes. So I would start to turn into somebody whose profession was no longer writing, it was just giving people copies of Blueberry Girl. And at the Fiddler's Green Sandman Convention in 2004, Charles Vess and I were guests, and we did that thing where we talked. And at some point during Fiddler's Green, I think I actually read Blueberry Girl, and then we got chatting about it a bit more, and somehow, by the end of the convention, we had decided we were going to do it as a picture book. And that we were going to, it was going to happen. And I read it by Tori, and she was very happy with the idea. And Charles immediately got to work, bashed out the pages. And here, in March 2009, and actually, before I read it, I want to say a quick thank you to the incredibly patient people at Harper Children who really were. Deadlines would come, deadlines would go, and they never lost faith. And thank you. And this is Blueberry Girl. And it's the only time I've ever read, stood up knowing that I was about to read an entire book to an audience. and that I would still be finished in 2 minutes and 36 seconds. Ladies of light, and ladies of darkness, and ladies of never you mind, this is a prayer for a blueberry girl. First, may you ladies be kind. Keep her from spindles and sleeps at 16. Let her stay waking and wise. Nightmares at 3, or bad husbands at 30. These will not trouble her eyes. Dull days at 40, false friends at 15. Let her have brave days and truth. Let her go places that we've never been. Trust and delight in her youth. Ladies of grace and ladies of favor and ladies of merciful night. This is a prayer for a blueberry girl. Grant her your clearness of sight. Words can be worrisome, people complex, motives and manners unclear. Grant her the wisdom to choose her path right, free from unkindness and fear. Let her tell stories and dance in the rain, somersault, tumble and run. Her joys must be high as her sorrows are deep. Let her grow like a weed from the sun. Ladies of paradox, ladies of measure, ladies of shadows that fall. This is a prayer for a blueberry girl. Words written clear on a wall. Help her to help herself. Help her to stand. Help her to lose and to find. Teach her we're only as big as our dreams. Show her that fortune is blind. Truth is a thing she must find for herself, precious and rare as a pearl. Give her all these and a little bit more. Gifts for a blueberry girl. Thank you.
I'm going to attempt to show you the slideshow, but the technical